The Thus Spoke series of one-shots continues Part 4's tendency of introducing cool and bizarre concepts and creatures to the original mainline universe of JoJo, be it bugs that evolve from technology, grudge-based ghosts that curse people, or even just straight-up yokais. But I think one of the coolest things introduced so far in the original universe from the Thus Spoke one-shots comes from my personal favorite Thus Spoke story, that being Episode 9, The Run, which confirms that not only do Greek gods exist, but still are an active force in the original universe. So Thus Spoke Rohan Kishibe, Episode 9, The Run, was released on February 26th of 2018 in Weekly Shonen Jump magazine, and one of the main inspirations for why it was released in Weekly Shonen Jump was Araki wanted to pay tribute to his old style, hence why he returned to Weekly Shonen Jump after about 5 years of being absent on the magazine, with Araki saying in the Thus Spoke Rohan Kishibe Compilation Volume 2 that the magazine that each story was originally released in has a connection to the story in some way. The story begins with a brief encounter that we don't get full context for till later, with one hand snatching a remote from the other, only for us to get a standard Thus Spoke introduction, with Rohan holding his hand in a brace, talking about how he'd normally brag about battle scars like this, but for once he seriously regrets his actions, meaning that however he hurt himself will be the crux of this Thus Spoke story, especially when he starts talking about how he crossed a line that should never be crossed. Then Rohan, almost defeatedly, begins his story's introduction, telling us about the character of Yoma Hishimoto, whose name, when broken down, basically means mental bridge to the monster, which is rather telling of his role in the story. But right now, he's just a regular, handsome man being scouted by a modeling agency, ending up being recruited by the same agency that recruited Takeru Sato, according to Araki. Not sure if he's taking shots at the man, but he does specifically point it out. And it's here that Yoma is told that he needs to do more than just look good if he wants to make it in the modeling and movie industry. He is instructed by his manager to begin working out his body. Thus he begins his slow descent into madness, as Yoma becomes addicted to the workout rush. Starting first with his healthy habits, slowly evolving into unhealthy ones, like limiting his diet beyond just healthy foods to ones that focus entirely on gaining protein so he can get as much gains as he can possibly get. Along with this, his early to bed, early to rise sleep schedule seems fine on paper, but he slowly begins to freak out at people who don't follow his own personal schedule. This is because the better he appears, the more of an ego he starts to gain. A good example of this is when he tells his girlfriend to leave the apartment that she owns because he wants to go to bed, along with him stealing money out of her wallet and debit card to buy cheap protein or hire a full-time personal trainer. He even fully redecorates her apartment, which is a rental, with bouldering pegs, which causes her to freak out on him. This whole situation destroys the relationship and the two finally break up. We also see during this slow descent into madness that Yoma has a low temper and really hates to lose, which is made worse when we finally get to the game of this one-shot. This game involves two treadmills that are set to automatically increase in speed until they reach 25 kilometers per hour, which is about 15.5 miles per hour. Once the treadmills reach that max speed, the two runners grab for an emergency stop remote in between them so that they can stop their treadmill while the other person falls over and eats shit. And Rohan seems to enjoy playing this game because it allows him to push himself to his limit while competing with someone else, and that he once played this game a while ago in the past with Yoma, which is an action that we saw at the beginning of this one-shot. Now, with context, the victor in the opening scene was Rohan, causing Yoma to trip over and fall on his face. He didn't like this because he doesn't like to lose, and the two agree to play the game one more time. But Yoma is taking this fun game between two strangers deadly serious. He tells Rohan that he cheated last time and that competitions need to be fair, so he won't allow Rohan to cheat this time. He then grabs a dumbbell, starts running backwards on the treadmill, slams the dumbbell into the glass window behind them, spins back around on the treadmill, all to create a deadly but fair stake for the competition. Rohan, rationally freaked out by this man's sudden, deadly determination, tries to quit early, but Yoma grabs his hands and breaks 3 of his fingers, leaving him only enough fingers left to use the stop button on the remote, all the while stripping his own outfit to reveal oddly shaped muscles on his body. These muscles look like a fleshy spiral wing mixed with a human muscle. Rohan finds himself really interested in this, so that the moment that Yoma breaks his hand, he uses Heaven's Door to turn Yoma's arm into a book. And this is where we find out how far Yoma Yoma has really snapped, as everyone who's interrupted his workout routine in the past few months has been brutally murdered in some way, be it the man who stole his personal trainer, the delivery guy who was bringing packages at 7 p.m. and waking him up while he was sleeping, to even his own girlfriend, for standing in the way of his own self-improvement. Yoma has truly become a monster, and Rohan realizes that he's not against killing him here as well. Though, as Rohan reads, he finds something else about him that causes him to truly panic. And it is at this moment that the treadmills finally reach their maximum limit, and the two dash for the remote. But Rohan was unable to use the table tipping maneuver that he used originally to get the remote, so this time, Yoma wins. But unfortunately for him, Rohan always has a backup plan. Instead of going for the remote, Rohan actually used his Heaven's Door to write a command on Yoma. But the trick to this trick is that this command would technically leave both of them the victors. And that command being to use the emergency stop button on Rohan's treadmill instead of his own. This means that Yoma technically wins the game. He got the remote first, but Rohan gets to rest. And once Yoma's treadmill reaches 25 kilometers, he's sent flying out the window of the gym, which is a 7-story fall. But Rohan refuses to check to see if he survives. Not because he didn't want to see the body, but because of the message he read off of Heaven's Door. Yoma Hichimoto was basically no more. He had become an avatar for the god of muscles, a divine being that goes by many names, but is most popular and well known as Hermes of Greek mythos, which makes us understand his name more. He was a literal mental bridge for the monster Hermes into the human world, which I thought was really cool. And then the story itself ends with Rohan saying that he hopes that his compromise pleases the god and that it doesn't seek revenge, and that the only thing left for him to do now is run from the gym. Hence the title, The Run. I absolutely love The Run. It's one of my favorite bizarre stories, and it has one of the best bizarre antagonists. I think it might just be because it reminds me so much of classic Greek myths, with humans versus unsurmountable odds, with human being physically outmatched in every way and having to figure out how to beat their literal deity enemies via a clever trick, which is pretty on par for Rohan stories in general. And the body horror on display was great. His oddly shaped muscle shows how good of an artist Araki has become. And speaking of art, Araki, and muscles, this story was actually Araki paying tribute to his old style from the 80s, saying that one of the main motivations behind this one shot was he wanted to draw muscles like how he used to, this being overly detailed muscular bodies and not exactly huge muscle mass. I also find it kind of funny that Araki mentions that he knows that there are people like Yoma in this world, and that makes him kind of upset, which makes me wonder if this story's actual origin was Araki had a bad run-in with a pretty boy at the gym and decided he wanted to write his own revenge tale. Maybe it was that guy he called out at the beginning. Not saying anything, but maybe it was. But probably not, because he really likes Rurouni Kenshin, and that guy played Rurouni Kenshin. I also love how this story builds on the original universe, by not only confirming that Greek gods, or at least figures that took the names of those existing Greek gods, exist in the mainline JoJo universe, but also that apparently they can see stands without possessing stands, which kind of recontextualize stands' abilities to some degrees to suggest that maybe Greek gods were just stand users in some way, and they have the same never-dying quality as Anubis. That's just more fun to think about, and it's just really funny to think of all the bizarre shit running around Morio. You have all the wonders, an alien, multiple yokai sprinkled around the forest area, babies being born every day with weird personal stands, insects that take the form of circuit boards that mind control people, and now an angry, competition-hungry Greek god who will literally kill you if you get in his way. Moriocho is truly the most interesting town in the world, so it's possible that Rohan will never run out of cool stories to tell. In fact, I love The Run so much that I was planning to cover the one-shot by itself at some point, but with the announcement that it's coming next on the Thus Spoke Rohan OVA list, I got so excited that I wanted to talk about it again right away. So hopefully, I've interested you enough in the story that you're going to go out and read it on your own. You can get more context for what happened in it than just my recap. And then, if you enjoyed this video and want to see more videos like it in the future, I have a Patreon at patreon.com/MannyNotTheBadGuy. And if you want to go on a sudden jog, well, I can tell you right now that the only thing that will get your blood pumping the right way, better than protein, better than any workout supplements, is Shimoneta, a boring world where the contrary jokes doesn't exist. You can get a copy of it at buyshimoneta.com.